The story starts when the CoD World at War devs were making extras for the 5th installment in the CoD franchise. Originally, there was going to be a sequence at the end of the game where you were a Nazi in a bunker at the beaches of Normandy trying to gun down the waves of American soldiers storming through. In the end, you would always lose because the United States is invincible and has never lost a single war, ever. They ended up scrapping the Normandy idea. When they added AI to the level Little Resistance, they made dazed Japanese soldiers after a bomb strike. When people saw them, they made comments how they looked like zombies. One day, Dan Bunting comes in and says, "We want to do some extra content for the game, what should we do?" Jesse Snyder, one of the devs, said he liked the idea of being run over, like in the D-Day idea. It would make you feel vulnerable. Jesse asked Dan if he had played any tower defense games lately. Dan said no. Dan didn't like the idea, as it didn't really fit with the theme of World at War. Jesse told Dan about the simple base mechanics and how easy it would be to do. A few hours after discussing that with Dan, he talked to one of the lead designers, Sean Slayback. Sean told Jesse about a flash game he had played called The Last Stand. You'll play as a survivor during a zombie apocalypse and fight off hordes of zombinos. They try to tear down a large barrier protecting you. If they were successful, you'd become dead. At the end of every round, you get points to buy guns and stuff like that. Jesse Snyder was playing that very game and had an idea. The idea came at him hard and fast. Like a zombie Nazi. He thought of how cool it would be to do things in real time, like buy the weapons and repair the barricades. Plus, you could play it co-op. He proposed the idea to Dan, and he wasn't too thrilled because they didn't have much time. But Jesse told it to other members of the business organization company, and they thought it was rather nice. They already had the animations of today's Japanese guys, so it would be a no-brain required situation. Dan would always say it would be too much work. Then Jesse learned that Dan had a scripter and programmer held hostage in order to make a tower defense game mode called Bunker Defense. It was a bunch of areas from the campaign where you would progress through the level and kill waves of guys. Problem was that it was lacking the stuff from The Last Stand that would make it fun. It didn't have the progression of buying weapons or repairing barricades, and by God, you can't even call it bunker defense because you weren't even defending anything, you were attacking. Jesse went off by himself, on his own, to make a tower defense game mode prototype. He originally took a house from the Russian campaign and made it spooky. He put up boards and windows and stuff like that. He showed off the prototype to a couple of other devs and they liked it too. Creative director Corky Leemcool approved of this, and Jesse continued to work on this. Dan wanted both his game mode and Jesse's game mode in the game, but Dan's project was cut because it wasn't working and it was probably stupid. Jesse and the programmer, Austin Krause, were told to work on it in their spare time as Cherrick had just entered rush mode. Eventually, they moved past the original prototype and refurbished a bunker from the Japanese campaign. This is what became Nacht der Untoten. Jesse asked for zombie animations instead of just using shell-shocked people animations. They somehow got a very talented zombie actor person to do mocap sessions with them. Then the Nazi enemies from the campaign were retextured to look very spooky and very dirty and very dead. One by one, the features from the original Nacht were added in. Power-ups weren't originally going to be in the game, but Jesse wanted to give the mode an arcadey feel. Then one day, a weapon artist named Max Porter wanted to show Jesse something very cool, and it wasn't his penis. It turned out to be the ray gun.
My old, shall we kill some zombies?
Yes, we shall!
Tons of people contribute to the ray gun in their own way. That's basically the origin story for the mode and the first map. Zombies has wall weapons, the mystery box, power-ups, and doors. The mode was very close to being cut lots of times. It's amazing how it actually made it into the game, as the mode generally doesn't fit with the Horrors of World War II theme they were going for. People from everywhere who bought the game and finished the campaign were given a special, spooky new mode as a surprise, one that would become a staple of the franchise.
As long as you live, the heart of the zombie can never be broken.
Things will change. As heroes, we will return to Russia's
After the success of Nacht, Treyarch had the opportunity to do more with the mode in the DLC. they decided to make another map, a bigger, better, spookier map, Verruckt. Or Verruckt, as the Deutschers would say. It's set in the Wittenau Sanatorium. The map is essentially a rework of an area from the campaign. This area from the campaign was turned into a multiplayer map, but the MP version isn't as accurate to Verruckt. All of the maps in World at War are reworks of multiplayer or campaign areas. The map starts out by separating you from your team if you're playing co-op. There's 2 rooms divided by a door that can only be opened by turning on the power. The power turns on the new features, something big. The Perk-a-Colas. Perks were huge and became extremely integral to zombies as a mode. There were 4 perks introduced in Verruckt. Juggernaut gave you more health and made it so where you could take 5 hits before demise rather than 2. Then there's Double Tap. It increases your fire rate. Speed Cola speeds up your reload speed. Quick Revive lets you do the revivey the teammates fasterer. The Perk-a-Colas are basically the perks for multiplayer turned into chemically engineered soda. Even the soda machines have their own themes and jingles. Perks made the mode easier, so the map was made harder. Much harder. Verruckt is still one of the hardest maps in the mode. The map is essentially a ton of tight hallways combined with newly added super sprinter zombies. They are always on crack, and they will always give you a heart attack when you see one super sprinting at you. This map also added traps, but nobody really cares about them. The only people who really care about traps are high round players, because they do infinite damage, and are one of the only things that kill zombies on really high rounds. The mystery box now moves around the map instead of staying in one room for the whole game. It moves if you spin the box. A lot. Sometimes the box can be in some absolutely terrible spots. Every time you die in a game of zombies, it shows the scoreboard and the camera pans around the map. One day when working on this, a sound designer named Kevin Sherwood came up with a quick tune that he thought would sound cool. Another sound designer, Brian Toohey, said that Kevin should turn his quick snippet into a full-fledged song. After Nacht, Kevin quickly relearned how to actually play guitar and then made it into a song. It was called Lullaby for a Dead Man. It even features lyrics. When they tried to find a singer for the song, Brian told Kevin of a producer named Alina Ziegman. Apparently, she could sing. Then the song was complete. In Verruckt, by flushing a toilet 3 times, the song Lullaby for a Dead Man plays. The toilet flushing was a reference to an older game. Every map since featured an Easter egg song. All of them are very pleasant. Just kidding. They're just about the edgiest metal songs to ever exist, but I must say, some of the lyrics are downright creepy.
All that you want me to will now rightly become mine. You know it, you feel it. I'm going to sleep.
The later Easter egg songs would be about the zombie storyline. They would write the death song for each map, and then Kevin would expand those songs into a full one. DLC 1 proved that zombies was here to stay. They made more maps.
I know when you're sleeping.
Verruckt must have done pretty well seeing as there was another zombies map, and it was big. Shi No Numa set in a swamp in Manchuria, which is a territory in China and Russia today. But during World War II, it was Japanese territory. The map is inspired visually by the Suicide Forest in Japan and features a similar spooky atmosphere. The map features perks which now reside in 4 different huts. Each hut has a random perk in it, meaning each location may be more or less useful depending on whether it has Jug. The map introduces the first boss zombie, the Hellhounds. They have their own round. Every dog round is signaled by the announcer. Dank vape clouds shroud your vision while dogs snarl and prowl you. The dogs are relatively easy, and you are always awarded a max ammo for finishing a dog round. The Hellhounds totally aren't reskins of the attack dogs from multiplayer and campaign. The map adds a new wonder weapon, the Wunderwaffe DG2.
What the hell is a Wonder Waffle?
It shoots electricity that can chain zombies together. It's always an insta-kill because it does infinite damage. In Shi No Numa, players realize that if they go to a more open area, they can gather up the zombies by running around in a circle. The zombies behind you will group up in a thin line forming a conga line of death, or a train, if you will. Back in 2009, it was called a rape train, and you can probably see why people don't call that anymore. It might be seen as offensive to some people. Shi No Numa is also a special map because it introduces 4 playable characters that eventually became as iconic as the mode itself. Player 1 is Tank Dempsey, a badass Marine who is a Marine.
Don't fuck with a Marine! Grind you up! Hey, player! Drop the chips and get me some ammo!
Okay, player. You got about 20 seconds till I show up in your living room and have words with you. Until I'm out of ammo.
Get the hit!
Player 2 is Nikolai Belinsky. He is the Dunk Soviet.
My name is Nikolai! I'm almost out of vodka! I mean ammo! Stay away from my vodka! With this weapon, I shall paint the square red! Get it? Red square? Because I'm right. Fuck! I'm out of ammo! Maybe I should just drink instead. Piss on someone. Maybe I share these points with state. I have made mess in trousers.
Player 3 is Takeo Masaki, another stereotype.
For the Emperor! The weapon is low on honor. Draw near before the Emperor!
This weapon fires pure honor. Maybe what was is no more, but shall be again. The Easter egg is not so hard this time. Or it's just a power switch.
The spirits of my ancestors are with me!
Player 4 is Edward Richtofen, a mad German scientist who is a bit unstable in the head.
Don't be afraid of Jess. Be afraid of the doctor. The first cut is the deepest. Without bullets, I'll have to resort to stabbing. Oh, such glorious death! I long to bathe naked in your blood. Dancing is a big fat stupid dull hunk of meat. Dancing stuck. I cannot torture my minions without power. Dempsey, you go turn it on.
Shi No Numa introduced these characters for a reason. All throughout Shi No Numa are radios that tell a secret storyline. It links Verruckt to Shi No Numa and establishes that Richtofen knows a lot more than the other characters.
I hope you're receiving this transmission, Peter. If you are not, then all is our been lost. You must know by now that we failed to contain the experiment. Now we have to move the experiment here. Maybe our only advantage now. Find Dr. Max's. They may know what's going on.
It also establishes Element 115 in the storyline.
115. Use the drone. 115 is dangerous and fast.
Every sci-fi franchise usually has some sort of space magic energy that makes anything possible. Element 115 is well known for being a part of alien conspiracy theories, as sometimes UFOs are said to run on 115. 115 is responsible for the zombies, the wonder weapons, and basically everything else. They got 115 from a meteor that you can find outside the map. The early zombie maps make heavy use of environmental storytelling, rather than explicitly telling you. Shi No Numa was a very important map that started a lot of things, but isn't remembered too fondly because it was overshadowed in many ways by the next map.
Element 115, Wonder Waffles, D-Glock. Ah, fuck it, let's just go kill some freak bags.
Dear Riese was the final zombies map of World at War. It's essentially a rework of the map Nightfire. Dear Riese means the giant in German. It is weapons factory near Breslau, Germany, which is actually Polish territory in modern times. The map introduced teleporters, which aren't really needed because the map is actually quite compact in its design. You activate teleporters by linking them to the mainframe and the spawn. You need to run from whichever teleporter to the mainframe in under 25 seconds for it to work. They're also expensive for what they are. It only seems like they were designed to be an escape method more than anything. Linking all 3 teleporters in a time trial will unlock the Pack-a-Punch. A machine which harnesses 115 space magic to turn your gun into a pew-pew gun that kills the zombies even harder.
Put your fists into the air and raise a rebel yell. There's lots of bad uns out there you need to send to hell.
Even the wonder weapons are packable. The process costs 5,000 monies each time, which can be expensive. The map introduced a new piece of equipment known as the monkey bomb. You throw the monkey and it distracts all the zombies on the map, excluding dogs, which doesn't make much sense as dogs are not very smart. The monkey bomb is really handy if you plan on reviving someone who is literally getting trampled by a horde of zombies. It became a recurring weapon and is featured in most maps. Darius also added the Bowie knife, a big knife that does extra damage and is worth 3,000 rupees. It's not exactly revolutionary. Speaking of revolutionary, a weird thing that was added to Darius is something known as the fly trap Easter egg. It has nothing to do with flies, traps, or the trapping of flies. If you shoot a control panel outside of the map with a packed gun, it will... That was weird. Now you must find 3 toy things across the map. Now that you've completed the game, guess what happens?
Nothing.
The flytrap Easter egg was very weird, but people were none the budwiser to know where this would lead the mode. Like the last map, Darius has some secret story stuff. Darius has way more little things packed in it compared to Shi No Numa. To start, the name Darius is a reference to
Riese,
which was a Nazi project to dig a network of tunnels under Poland. These were supposed to be used for a variety of purposes. Apparently they were going to be used for weapons testing. The Nazis also had plans for powerful wonder weapons. Wunderwaffen. The only wonder weapons that were built were not pew-pew cannons, but were instead very inventive guns like the STG-44. It was the very first assault rifle and is the basis of the AK-47. Project Riese was never finished. Along with Project Riese, Darius also references Die Glocke. Die Glocke is German for the bell, which is somehow the least ominous, but also the most ominous name for anything, ever. Die Glocke was a rumor that the Nazis had an anti-gravity time machine device bullshit device. The main source of the rumor is from a Polish book called Prawda o Wunderwaffe. The teleporters look quite like Die Glocke, and the flytrap Easter egg. The archway structure outside the map is based off of a real-life structure which is rumored to be a Die Glocke landing place thingy. The flytrap Easter egg even references Die Glocke when the circle of things fly away, not related to any other pre-existing conspiracy theory. Darius established the group responsible for most 115-related inventions. Group 935. A secret organization that was originally founded to help improve the human condition. They got low on funding and signed a deal with the Nazis to manufacture high-tech weapons instead. The zombie storyline is so fascinating because it's not just a bunch of made-up bullshit. It's based off of real-life conspiracy theory made-up bullshit. Darius is a very special map because of its introduction to the Pack-a-Punch machine. It allows players to get to higher rounds without use of the traps or Wunderwaffe. The PAP machine is what allowed zombies to go further than just one game. After the DLC season was over, World at War received modding tools, which means mods and custom maps that anyone can download from the worldwide interweb. People played custom maps for years. World at War lasted way longer than most Call of Duties just because of modding tools. Zombies had a very successful first run. Slobbering 8-year-olds across the globe loved the mode. Many summer nights were spent camping on the Darius catwalk. What you're about to see is totally real footage from 2009.
Mommy, make sure you can see the screen. Alright guys, we're gonna be camping on the catwalk again. I hope my music isn't too loud for you guys. My insiders at Treyarch tell me this spot is actually very good and it'll get me to round 100.